Welcome to Prayer Points for the Harvest, a weekly communication designed to equip you to pray for the fulfillment of the Great Commission. This is Jonathan Soloria. We come this week to the last of our Old Testament examples of prayer walking. We've looked at the example of Abraham, we've looked at the example of Joshua, and today we come to the example of Nehemiah. In Nehemiah chapter 2, we're told the story of how Nehemiah came to Jerusalem. He had discovered through a report that the walls around Jerusalem had been in a state of disrepair. This grieved him greatly, and he prayed for an opportunity to present a case to the king, a case for him to do something about the reconstruction of these walls. To the providence of God, Nehemiah was granted his request. He was given letters by the king to provide lumber and timber from the royal forests, safe passage for the journey, and a commission to reconstruct the walls as he desired. But when we come to Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 9, we find that not everything was smooth sailing for Nehemiah. No sooner had he returned than certain individuals in the area were somewhat disturbed that he sought the welfare of Jerusalem, among them Sanballat and others. What we discover here is that in life, as with Nehemiah, we will always face opposition. There are always individuals who are unhappy when we seek the welfare of the community that we are called to serve. However, we cannot allow their opposition to keep us from the God-given mandate that we have. We must always continue to seek that welfare. How do we do that without being obnoxious and without sort of causing division and discord, without escalating things? Well, Nehemiah understood what he needed to do. He continued on to Jerusalem and waited 3 days, and after the third day, the Bible tells us he went out by night and he inspected the walls. He rode at first on an animal, and then when the path got too small, dismounted and walked the rest of the way on foot. I doubt seriously that Nehemiah was just taking a walk on this night. Rather, I believe Nehemiah was praying and walking, seeking the will and the wisdom of God. Nehemiah understood the only way he could respond to this warfare, the only way he could respond to this opposition was through prayer. Because he understood that the true forces that he was battling were not just flesh and blood, but they were the principalities and powers that stood behind those individuals. In the same way as we prayer walk over our communities, we're doing battle against the true enemies, the true culprits, and that is Satan and his minions. Nehemiah understood this, and he took the time to pray. Having prayed around the walls of Jerusalem, the Bible tells us that then he took his vision to the people. He told them what he had come to Jerusalem to do. He explained the way God had worked through him and granted him favor with the king. And after sharing this report, after having walked and prayed, the Bible tells us that the people agreed at that time to rise up and build. Only after we have prayed and sought the will of God for a community can we then take a clear and compelling vision of what God has to the people that can make it happen. It is not with our planning that great works of God begin. It is with great prayer. And as we walk and as we pray, we follow in the footsteps of Nehemiah. I encourage you this week as you pray for the harvest, as you prayer walk through your community, to pray for opportunities to share the gospel. Pray that God strengthens you in the midst of much opposition. Pray for perseverance to finish the task that God has set before you. Pray for others to join you in fulfilling the Great Commission. And thank God for making possible the reconciliation of all things through his Son, Jesus Christ.